Jermell Charlo goes up 2 weight class to take on the apex predator, Canelo Alvarez. Is this just for the bag or is he seeking greatness? Coming right up.
Do you got game? Do you got game?
I hope you know it's not a game, boy. I hope you know real pack handhelds. I hope you know it's not a game, boy. No batteries included, just some assault battery charges. Homie, man, you gotta be cautious. You gotta be nauseous, the way that we shake things up. Put 8 to your ribs, make you take things up. Careless in the kitchen, the way we break things up. And since y'all coming now, man, let's take things up. I get bucks like a mason trade, plus I'm sharp like a razor blade. Excuse me on these cuts. Some of y'all cats confuse me when you tough, cause you turn around and get pussy like you got no nuts. I turn around and get pussy like I signed with the Bucks. I ball like Peyton, while all of y'all hating. More money, more problems, that's all in the making. You think I'm not here to stay? You sadly mistaken. I got game.
What's the haps? It's your boy Ashy Knuckles coming at you with another video. So, is Jermell Charlo chasing history? Well, on paper, we know for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, going up in 2 weight classes to challenge the champion is not a feat that has been accomplished by a lot of great fighters. Ever since I've known the Charlos, they've been wanting an opportunity to face Canelo Alvarez, and that's back when they were even welterweights, and Canelo was being pushed as a prospect with Golden Boy Promotions. But the stars were never aligned for either of the twins to lure Canelo Alvarez into an enticing fight. But now here it is. Now most of the boxing fans would wonder, why wouldn't the bigger Charlo be the one to get this opportunity? And sadly to say, and I mean this, sadly to say, I believe Jermell Charlo's stint as a champion fighter is pretty much done. He hasn't fought in a few years, and it's just not looking good on his behalf. He's not looking like a guy who has a fighter's temperament, much less a champion. I think in due time we'll all get to see how that plays out. So even though these guys were born on the same date, or the same age, the Charlo twins, it seems that Jermell Charlo, for the last few years, seems like him and Jermell have just a different set of priorities. One Charlo is seeking to be great, and it seems like the older Charlo is just existing. Yes, he had things going on in his life. We all got things going on in our lives. But I don't think everything would be all cool if I just didn't show up to work. He's a champion fighter. He has not defended his title. He has not fought. And if he hasn't fought, what's the likelihood that he's even been in the ring sparring? And if he hasn't been in the ring sparring, he has not been working at his craft and perfecting the things that made him a really good champion. So I have no other reason to believe that he is going to be the same once he gets back in the ring, if he's getting back in the ring. He's having issues at events. He's getting drunk on IG, getting slapped around by Caleb Plant and not even standing his ground. Looked like he was about to walk off before he realized, hold on, this dude just slapped me. Yeah, bro, the old Charlo I know, it would have been smoke right then, right there. No matter what was going to happen, no matter who it was, you could have been a heavyweight. And the mall that I know, it would have been smoke right then and there. I don't know who this guy is. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it a buck. But at the same time, Mel is different. I haven't been around the Charlo twins for a lot of years now. But at least Mel has kept with the plan. He said they were supposed to take over the sport. And he hasn't taken over the sport, but he damn sure has made his mark. And in this particular fight, he's going up 2 divisions to take on a monster. Now, Canelo Alvarez, even though, we happen to be living in a sport where the boxing fan has short memories. And Canelo Alvarez gets a lot of heat from the boxing fan for anything. Even Jermell. Jermell is being looked at like he's food simply because Bud Crawford has a desire to face him. But y'all act like Jermell Charlo is just some chump. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get it twisted. We already know Bud. We know what Bud come to do. But don't forget who Jermell Charlo is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's not a walk in the park for anybody on any night. And Bud don't even fight at his weight. So we can't just act like this is a video game and conclude that because Bud will move up in weight and fight Charlo, then Charlo is just going to be another name on his ledger. Doesn't work like that. Boxing doesn't work like that. The ring got to sort that out. Don't matter what you do. Don't matter what we say. Don't matter what's said on camera. The two men got to get in there and sort it out. But before that takes place, Jermell will be trying a near impossible feat, going up 2 weight classes. And this is not just like any other time where a fighter jumps a weight class, which I've always been highly against it, because history has shown a lot of guys trying this and getting their ass obliterated for their troubles. Diego Corrales went up in weight to fight Joshua Clottey. He got his ass beat. Sadly, I believe that's the last fight Diego Corrales had before his unfortunate demise. R.I.P. to Chico. Right? Kell Brook tried to go up in weight, 2 weights to fight Gennady Golovkin. He got his ass beat, got his orbital bone broken, made some money, didn't win the fight while chasing greatness. Kudos to him for attempting it, but it was career suicide, as he would never be the same fighter that he was prior to going up in weight. Amir Khan tried to go up in weight, skipping the division to fight Canelo Alvarez. Found himself on a highlight knockout reel. So there have been many other cases where a guy would try to skip a weight class and it just did not work out for him. History is littered with these attempts. And but we live in this modern boxing era. Last 2 eras we've seen guys attempt it and they have been successful. I don't know if that makes other fighters feel that they can do it and be successful, but you know, kudos to them for daring to be great, because this is a monumental feat. Jermell Charlo is a champion at 154 pounds. He's going to attempt to have a fight at 168 pounds. 14 pounds of fight weight. You know what I'm saying? He's never even fought at middleweight. He's going up 14 pounds of fight weight. He may not weigh in at the limit of 168, but from 161 to 168, he will be competing in that weight division against a guy that's been at that weight division for 5 or 6 years. You know, and he's also fighting a very decorated fighter, a decorated champion, a guy who is undisputed just like himself. And on top of that, Canelo Alvarez himself has jumped a weight class to fight a champion. Right after the Danny Jacobs fight, he went up in weight, 2 weight divisions, and took down Kovalev, which was a fight I thought he would lose, because I tend to stick with what history has shown us. So that is a feather in the cap of Saul Canelo Alvarez. So in this fight, Jermell is not just attempting a historic feat, a monumental feat, going up 2 weight classes to fight a fighter. He's jumping up 2 weight classes to fight the current undisputed champion of the world. And that is not even getting talked about. This is not just an attempt to do it in 2 weight classes. He is leaping a weight class to fight the champion, the undisputed champion, in a further weight class. This is daring to be great right here. This is not a unification fight against another great fighter within your division. This guy is leaving his division, jumping his brother's division, and fighting in a division that his brother hasn't even fought at, to fight the champion there. So the odds are not likely that he's going to come out of this unscathed. This is what greatness is all about, man. This is what it's all about. Now, Is the fight winnable? Well, when you look at their attributes, Jermell's a little taller, like 6 foot, 73-inch reach. Let me look that up. 73-inch reach. Canelo is about 5'8" with a 70.5 reach. So if we're looking at the attributes, Jermell is a little taller and rangier, and we already know he's coming at from a lighter division, so he'll probably be a little faster than Canelo. Canelo is not as fast at this weight than he was at the lower weights, but his hand speed is still there, and his power has increased tremendously. Canelo is a much better fighter in these higher weight classes. Now, his last outing against John Ryder was not spectacular, but you know, he fought down to the level of his competition, thinking this was just going to be a regular night out where he would collect an 8-figure payday, which he did. But in the fight prior to that, who did he fight? He fought the monster that everybody thought was a monster in Gennady Golovkin, and beat his ass again. So it's not like Canelo's on the downside or he's badly faded. They're both roughly, 33 years old, and Canelo has more experience, fought over 60 fights, you know? Won titles at every weight class, 54, 60, 68, and 75. A 4-division champion. Jermell Charlo, this will be his second time going up in weight. You know, as I said before, him and his brother were welterweights when they were prospects, but the bulk of Jermell Charlo's career has been at 154 pounds. He has not fought at 68. He has no idea what it's like to fight at that weight. So what do we know about Jermell Charlo? We know he has fast hands. You know, he has power in both hands. His straight right hand is a money punch. His left hook is his Sunday punch. Most people don't even recognize Jermell Charlo for having the destructive left hook. He's a guy who initially in his career used to box on the move, utilize the whole ring, and set guys up for power shots where he wouldn't be there for the return shots because he would be on his toes. This is a guy with a lot of with great balance, probably the best balance since Evander Holyfield. And he's going up in weight, hoping that his skills and attributes will be enough to upset the apple cart against Canelo Alvarez. And what do we know about Canelo? We know Canelo has really good hand speed, really good timing. He has good head movement. He's not a guy that's fleet of foot. You're not going to see him getting on the toes and moving around the ring. He's a guy that cuts off the ring, counters your shots, and he also can dictate the pace of the fight. He can also dictate the fight itself. And he has a lot of experience, a lot of championship experience. He's been in the ring with a superior competition. And he's more than likely looking at the younger Jermell as food, as another notch on his impressive Hall of Fame ledger. Maybe in his mind, he don't think he can lose this fight. History would favor him. We'll just have to see once he gets in the ring with young Jermell Charlo. So this is an uphill battle for Jermell Charlo. It just really is. We got to call a spade a spade. In his mind, you know, he's been studying Canelo his whole life, his whole career, and he believes he has the tools to pull the upset and to become undisputed in 2 weight classes. If you're Jermell Charlo, you got good problems right now. You know what I'm saying? You get to go up against quite possibly the marquee fighter in the sport of boxing in terms of the box office, make a ton of money, and no one expects you to win that fight. And if you come out virtually unscathed, you still got another potential lucrative fight back at 154 pounds or 160, because I don't foresee him going back to 54 after fighting at 68. I don't think it'll be good for his body to do that. I would recommend that he meet Bud at a catch weight, but who am I? I'm not the fighter. Only the fighters know what's going on with their bodies. You know what I'm saying? So if he returns to 54, that would be an opportunity to defend his undisputed championship at the weight at which he wouldn't be undisputed because he's going to get stripped for the WBO belt the moment that he fights Canelo. But he will still be a unified champion. And, you know, maybe it'll make sense. Maybe, you know, they will have the unified titles on the line to at least make it a championship fight. I happen to believe at this particular level that the belts are meaningless when you're making these fights. Both of these guys are decorated fighters. And at this point, you don't need a trinket from one of these sanctioning organizations to make it a lucrative event. You don't need the belts whatsoever. You just need to make the fights. But if Jermell would have win, it would be the most impressive feat, and probably more impressive than Bud's run. A lot of people probably have an issue with that, but it is what it is. It's the truth. If you jump a weight class and you go up against the undisputed champion at the weight class that you fight him at, which is clearly out of your comfort zone, and you beat him, that's probably one of the biggest wins he will ever have in his career. Like I said, a lot of fighters have made the jump and were successful, even though, you know, it's not in their benefit to do so. Roy Jones went up 25 pounds. 25 pounds and fought John Ruiz for a heavyweight strap. And he won. Blanked him. Won damn near every round. And became a heavyweight champion. Even though he didn't have the mass, the frame, or the weight to compete as a heavyweight or to campaign as a heavyweight. Why do I say this? Because Roy Jones weighed in at what we know today as cruiserweight. Roy weighed in at 200 pounds against John Ruiz's 200 plus pounds. So when you look back at it and the magnitude of what Roy accomplished, he wouldn't even be able to do that in today's game. He wouldn't even be able to fight at that weight. He would at least have to weigh 201 pounds. He was barely 200. In fact, the scale that he got on the morning of the fight read 199. The fight wouldn't even take place unless Roy had two pockets full of nickels getting on the scales. You know what I'm saying? Crazy, crazy feat. 25 pounds of fight weight. And he should have retired after that fight, you know, looking back. Who else has done it? Canelo jumped 2 weights and took down Kovalev. He did that, you know, feather in his cap. Bernard Hopkins, he jumped 2 weight classes to fight Tarver for the lineal championship at light heavyweight. You know, monumental feat. That's a feather in Bernard Hopkins' cap. Shane Mosley jumped junior welterweight, but he didn't fight a champion at welterweight. He fought Wilfredo Rivera to test himself at the weight prior to going after Oscar De La Hoya. It took him 10 rounds to get Wilfredo Rivera out of there because he wasn't a welterweight. He had to grow into the weight. So all the attributes that Jermell Charlo has at 154 pounds, there's no guarantee that all those attributes are going to translate well 2 divisions higher. So even if he's able to find that chin and get at Canelo, there's no guarantee the knockout puncher that we know as Jermell Charlo will emerge victorious via KO. So the fight has to be won, in theory, on paper, on the cards. And if there's anybody that can pull it off, it would be Jermell Charlo. As I said before, he was a guy that used to box on the move, you know, in his career prior to getting with Derrick James. And he's going to have to summon those skills and attributes that he once used as a fighter. And he'd have to get on his toes against Canelo. In my opinion, him being a champion with experience, I wouldn't go right after Canelo myself. I would say give him different looks. Box on the move at times. You know, bring the fight to him. Stand your ground at times. just give him a bunch of different looks, because once you become predictable to Canelo and he gets a read on you, he's going to walk you down, he's going to beat you to the body, and he's going to brutally stop you. And in this particular fight, I'm not going to give a prediction yet, but history has shown us this is a near impossible feat. Hey, may the best man win. I hope they make a lot of money. And more importantly, I hope both fighters come out virtually unscathed, especially Jermell, because I would like to see him face Bud Crawford. I think there's a lot of money there. I think there's a lot of storylines there that will make that for a great historic matchup. But that's all I got for you for today, man. It is your boy Ashy Knuckles, and I'm gonna get at you on the next one. Deuce.